Kings win at home, 135-115, a 20-point victory, but it was tied. Actually, the Rockets had the lead at one point in the fourth quarter. We got a lot to go over after this Kings victory at Golden One Center. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, I'm pretty darn good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, just like pretty darn good. Not fantastic. Not bad. Just pretty darn good.
I think that's how I feel about the Kings game tonight.
Oh, good.
You win by 20 at home, and you go, you take care of business. But it's kind of how you got there, too.
Yep.
And that's fair. And I kind of like that that's where we are at with the Kings now, where it's like, no, you're better than this. Like, you're taking on a 10-win team. You're supposed to win this game, especially at home. I know that you won, but play better. And that's kind of where you are with this game tonight. There was definitely some good. That fourth quarter was amazing for Sacramento. They outscored the Rockets 41-20 in that fourth quarter. Trey Lyles.
My goodness.
15 points and 6 rebounds in the fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox, 9 points, 6 dimes in the fourth quarter. So they took care of business in the fourth quarter. It was just the stuff before that I think rubbed Morgan the wrong way.
Yeah, it just had me, I think bored is the wrong word.
No, it was a boring game.
Okay.
For most of the game. The crowd wasn't really into it for good reason. It lacked a rhythm.
Yeah.
It was kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Then the Kings defense was really bad, especially in that third quarter.
When it was bad, it was bad. And it was frustrating because when I say that, I'll define what that bad was. In my opinion, it was the way that the Rockets were making their team look exciting by getting to the rim with authority, really pushing through. We know that they already can get into the paint, but the way and dunk the ball, that's what they like to do on teams. They do a great job of it in this league.
They're young, they're athletic.
Yep, and they get to the rim and they will throw it down on you. But it was frustrating because the Kings have shown so many things differently about their defense in their game and the perimeter pressure that they can put on. And these guys were still getting to the rim and throwing it down. I think that's where I was getting the most frustrated. Even though it's going to happen, they responded and got the win.
Yeah, and I just think for the Kings on a game like tonight, there are going to be stretches throughout a year where it's hard to get up for a game. I just think the Kings should not be in that position quite yet.
Sure.
As a team, that mentality. And I don't even know if it's a conscious thing. I don't think they go into it yeah, we're just going to kind of coast through this and get a win tonight. I just think it's, hey, we're halfway through the season. Oh, the Rockets have 10 wins. The crowd's not as crazy tonight. That maybe you're not as engaged. But you can't be. And I think for Mike Brown after this game, watch that fourth quarter and compare it to what you saw in the third quarter. Right? Like, the Rockets aren't a good team. They're 29th in points per game at 109 points a game.
Yeah.
They were on track to score a lot more than that. They end up being held to 115, so slightly over their average. But, yeah, I just felt like there was too much dribble penetration, kick outs for threes, and too many open threes. And that really hurt Sacramento. It was just far too easy at times for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I think it was the way that they were moving on defense, right? It was just like, obviously, the way that they had to protect the paint when guys were coming in with the authority that they were coming in. But at the same time, they weren't worried enough about what was going on beyond the arc. And that's when things can kill you. That's when teams really chip away. And I just think the Houston Rockets did a really good job of capitalizing on that. Like, okay, if we're going to make everyone focus on us in the paint, then this is where we're going to score. You saw them knocking down those shots tonight, especially from beyond the arc at first. And they ended up finishing 16 of 41.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 39% and 45.8% from the field.
Like someone like Garrison Matthews, that's what he wants to do. He
Oh
wants to
my
shoot
God.
threes.
Yeah.
Kind of have a dirty play on Keegan.
Okay, thanks.
You didn't like that, right?
I didn't like that at all. Like,
I think the problem was when Keegan went up, he grabbed his shoulder.
but then he followed through with the way when they went down. Like with gravity, he went down with it, but kept shoving a little bit more. And yeah, I didn't like it. It wasn't just like his momentum going in that direction. So it was frustrating.
But he obviously loves to shoot threes. He knocked down threes in this game, and it was a little too easy at times for the Houston Rockets. And I think that's kind of the lesson here, right? Like on the positive note, 46 points in the paint. So back-to-back games where they hold opponents in the 40s in points in the paint. So that's encouraging. They play the same team again Friday. And I just want it to look different from the start. The end result should be a win and, win by 15, 20, but I just like a little more consistency. I don't think you should be down at home to the Rockets in the fourth quarter, especially because you just weren't engaged. And then you see what they did in the fourth quarter. You're like, come on. Like that energy has to be there from the jump.
Yeah, no, exactly. And especially it's not like they're playing on a back-to-back or they're traveling. They're at home. And you want to see that. I know we'll talk about the next game coming up, but you do want to see that going into Friday's game, especially because it's not easy being the team that wins and then goes into that next game because it's a different type of mentality you have to have on your adjustments. You're still like, we won, so we have to make some adjustments though for some of our flaws, but the other team's going to also make their adjustments to make their team better. So what is that going to be like for this young Rockets team? I don't know, but it can be scary.
Yeah. Not against a 10-win team. I don't have that same feel. I'm just being honest.
And Matt brought up this point too. You don't want to be the team that after 9 straight losses to give them their first win. It just sucks being that team. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good out in, national media.
Even tonight, like around the NBA, the Pistons put up like 135 points in a win over Minnesota. It's a terrible loss for a T-Wolves team that's trying to figure it out. I know they're still without Cat, but come on. They've got more talent than the Pistons, right? So you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. And it's not a disrespectful thing to the Houston Rockets. Like if this game was in Houston, I think I'd be like, yeah, I'm with you. But this game on Friday is at home. Play the right way and get it done. I just felt like there are times, even with the offense, I mean, we talk about the defensive issues. They allowed the Rockets to score 35 points in the second quarter and then 33 in the third. But I also felt like in the third quarter, offensively, they were settling too much. They were just settling for threes. And this team, and I think it really goes to any team in the NBA, 3-pointers when they're created out of ball movement, when it's Fox penetrating or Sabonis, who's just so good playing with max effort. But never going to question that guy's effort in a game. He gets up for all of them. But creating so many outside opportunities for his teammates, those are the good ones. The bad ones are just like, hey, we're just dribbling. Let me just launch this 3.
And what makes them good is that players are already in rhythm, right? It's not just like, stop, okay, find your rhythm, now shoot the ball. It's guys are already flowing and feeling the energy of the basketball. I mean, it's not one of those spiritual things like feel the energy of the ball and the ball will go into the rim. It's literally just like how momentum works, how anything works in life when you just have things already kind of warmed up and going. It's the same kind of flow when you have defenses like transitioning in different directions and being on their heels and then getting a more open look with the ball already going in that direction.
So the Kings did win tonight, 135-115. Some of the crazy numbers from this one, Sabonis, 25 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists.
Just 1 assist shy of a triple-double.
What do you think of his game tonight?
Just
easy, 9 of 12 shooting?
There's times when I feel like he just understands personnel so well because he is such a high IQ player. And looking at the way that he was going at those guys in the key, they're long, they're young, they're athletic. Şengün's big. Like they still have some of that size, but he understands what he's capable of doing as a high IQ player, right? In making the right move or using his strength against these young bodies. Like just a smart guy, dominating the paint. And I just love the way also he pushes the ball out and gets the offense going.
I think there are times watching him tonight where I went, you shouldn't even pass the ball. In these situations. Like he just had some good looks, but he's always trying to get guys involved. You got Keegan some great looks tonight. I mean, he gets everybody good looks, and that's what's really encouraging. I think that's one of the best things about Fox and Sabonis is these guys are, they can get theirs. They're very capable of getting you 20 plus, but they're very capable of getting other players involved. And I think Fox has really done such a better job of doing that this year. And I think part of that is just the offense they run. And I do believe when you have a player like Sabonis who not only sets the standard by playing that way, he's very vocal too. I think you want to play that way. It's just more fun.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. I mean, that style of play for anyone, it's more of a plug and play type of game, right? And with that, you have more trust for people, understanding that the ball is going to come back to you. And if the ball is not coming back to you and it's stopping with the player, what I love is that someone like Mike Brown and a coaching staff is holding that person accountable and saying, play the game the right way or you're not going to play at all.
So Sabonis had that monster game. Fox ends up finishing with 24 points, 9 assists. He did it on 9 of 18 shooting. He was 2 of 4 from 3 and 4 of 6 from the free throw line. So I thought he had a good night too. I thought he was attacking. I thought he was engaged defensively at the start. And then I thought he made some big plays in the fourth quarter defensively. He drew a charge too. The Kings defense was just so much better in the fourth quarter. There was one play where Jalen Green was getting to the basket and Mike Brown was so happy because Sabonis went straight up. They preach verticality. They chart it. That's the stat they always keep. He went straight up. Jalen Green missed a shot, and the Kings got out in transition and made something happen. And I think it goes to what we keep talking about with this team defensively. They do have a ceiling, in my opinion, but they could be better than what they have been playing.
Yeah.
I don't think they're as bad as they have been over the recent weeks. And it takes constant engagement and communication, and sometimes it's hard when you're at home and it's super loud and, the crowd's into it and you're trying to play defense, but you have to talk. You have to communicate. You can't communicate late. The communication can't happen as the screen's coming, right? You have to set your guys up, especially the guys playing on the back end, the back line.
Yeah. Exactly. The second line of defense really just understanding what they need to be for different opponents too, right? This is a team with the Rockets that have youth and explosiveness and understand how to get into the paint. So you know that you're going to need a lot more of that help. That help can't be a step behind. That help has to be communicating and not just ball watching or watching their man. They got to make sure they're seeing everything that's going on to be there. Timing needs to be perfect in those situations. And we've seen this team capable of playing at that high level defensive style of basketball. And that's what's frustrating when you don't see it consistently in a game like this against a bad team.
We should mention Kevin Huerter did not play in this game.
Yes.
He was out. He was sick, non-COVID illness. So he missed tonight's game. No clue if he's going to be back for Friday at this point. So Mike Brown elected to start Terence Davis, which he's done before this year. I think this one surprised me because Terence has not really been in the rotation.
Right.
Terence played 22 minutes. He had 6 points, 6 rebounds, a couple assists, 2 of 7 shooting. Wasn't knocking down shots. I thought defensively he made a few mistakes tonight. I mean, obviously the Kings as a team did, but
sure,
there were definitely some plays he got blown by. I think I was surprised that Terence Davis was in the starting lineup tonight. And I personally think, especially now that Terence has not been in the rotation, probably makes more sense to start Davion or Monk. I mean, I think sometimes they get so caught up in like, now Monk's got to play that six-man role, second unit. He's perfect for that. That's fine. But then, and I'm not even saying Terence shouldn't play, but it just seems odd to me that you don't feel that he can be in the rotation right now. Really. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was out for a minute, and now he's starting because Kevin Huerter is out.
Yeah, I mean, talk about next man up mentality, but I would have just imagined that being him coming off the bench. What's the thought process behind it? I don't know.
I think one would be, look, he stayed engaged.
It's against the Rockets.
We're playing the Rockets.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good chance to get him back in rhythm and give him an opportunity to see what he can do out there.
And that's the other thing, too. You're right away playing with Fox and Sabonis. So you're playing with guys that ultimately are just going to make you better right away. And so when you get that opportunity, you're not like, oh, I'm playing with, the 10th guy on the roster. It's like, no, you're in there with the starters who make the game better for your team. And you've got to just be ready to play and try and make them better as well. And I felt like he had his, like you said, his moments. I love seeing the 6 rebounds on his stat line. Like, I think that was huge. But I'm with you. But not a big deal because they got the win.
And I'm not. I saw someone in the chat. Who was it?
What they say.
People just make me laugh. And I know we get so many people in the chat. Appreciate you guys all being here. We try to get to as many as we can. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. Big Lucci says, let the man coach of the year so far. Oh, Big Lucci, I don't know if you're new to the podcast. We slobber over Mike Brown.
We love the shit out of him.
For probably 10 minutes every podcast.
Probably too much.
It's okay. Like, it's not like I'm going, what is Mike Brown doing? I'm just like, well, maybe.
We're just analyzing it too. You know, it's one of those things where on a night like this, when they didn't come out and start the way that they needed to, it's not to put blame on Mike Brown for that decision. It's not to put blame on Terence Davis for not like being a 31-point Terence Davis that he was on TNT. It's just more like we're just talking about it.
Wilson says TD started the previous game with Herter out and he put up 19 points. He just needs to do Kevin shooter role. I think the rotation is pretty set with Monk as the sixth man. No, I'm with you. It seems like he is really set in that. Who should we talk about next?
So we touched on Sabonis. We touched on Fox, TD being in the starting lineup. I mean, let's go with the Rook. Let's go Keegan, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Love the way that he's shooting that three. I know he
shot 11 threes tonight.
I know. And I know it was a lot, but he was.
No, I want Keegan to shoot more. And
good.
I don't think I watched tonight and went, yeah, he shouldn't have shot that. Like, I feel like he takes pretty good shots. You know, I was talking to a buddy about this and he's like, God, can they run some more plays for Keegan besides him just standing in the corner and knocking down some shots? I want him to be aggressive. This is what you want more of. I don't like seeing games where it's like, oh, Keegan took 6 shots tonight.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, you're a really good shooter. In fact, headed into tonight, the stat was insane. Like, since December 1st, right? Out of all the players in the NBA with over 100 3-point attempts, he is shooting the best percentage. I think it's right around 49% from 3 since December 1st. What was it, Morgan?
So Alex Kramer's
damn it, I had it wrong.
Tweeted out how good
2%
was Keegan
off.
Murray been as a rookie. 53 players have attempted 100+ threes.
So I got that right.
Since December 1st.
Thank you.
No one in the entire league is shooting a higher percentage than Murray at 49.5%.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
That's a rookie doing that, right?
Wow, you pulled that up quick.
Yeah, I mean, I want him taking those shots. He ends up 16 points. I thought it was good to see him get 6 rebounds. He had that game where Brown was upset. He had 0. Then he had the next game, the last game the Kings played, he only had 3 rebounds.
Yeah.
And I guess Mike Brown, G-Man was saying this, and maybe I missed this because I didn't go to the pregame media availability, but Mike Brown said he went up to Keegan after practice, after the 3 rebound game, and went up to him to ask him about the rebounding. How many rebounds did you have in that game? And he goes, more than 0. Okay. But yeah, I thought that was funny.
That's cute.
6 rebounds, 16 points for him in this game.
Like you said, being more aggressive. I love to see it. I did ask Matt Barnes too about Keegan's thumb and just like, hey, same kind of rap as Sabonis. He was asked about it at practice and he talked about he won't be using the splint in a couple of weeks. And I said, how much could that really affect his shot? And the reason why I asked that is because I saw on JJ Redick's podcast, Old Man of the 3 podcast, I saw a clip of Fred VanVleet talking about injuries affecting his shot. And I love when guys aren't using it as an excuse, but at the same time, you have to understand the mechanics of shooting the ball and just what effect it could really have on it. And now that it's healing is probably another reason why his shot's doing better.
Yeah, 5 of 14 tonight, 4 of 11 from downtown in the game for Keegan Murray. We mentioned Fox, Sabonis. HB gave you another 16-point game. Just steady. He's been really steady.
I love his steadiness.
From a scoring perspective.
I know. Yeah. Sometimes he just looks so strong out there, and I just appreciate his strength, his aggressive nature.
Let's talk about the guy that the people in the chat are calling the dog of the game.
Who's the dog of the game?
The options. Sabonis, who had 29 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists. I totally messed up the poll. I gave Sabonis like 5 extra points.
Yeah, I was like 29?
Yeah, 25 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists for Sabonis. Or is it Fox, who had 9 points and 6 assists in the fourth? Or Trey Lyles, who had 15 points and 6 rebounds in the fourth? Who is your dog of the game? 64% of the people say, give it to Trey Area. Trey Lyles, Morgan. 20 points, 7 rebounds tonight, 6 of 8, 3 of 5 from downtown. He was also 5 of 6 from the free throw line. He was huge in the fourth quarter. It was getting to the free throw line, attacking the basket, offensive rebounds, hitting some threes.
God, when he would just like flare out beyond the arc, get a pass from a teammate, your confidence in his shot was just there, right? Like that one's going in. That one's going in. A nice little flow. He's feeling the energy from his teammates in that fourth as well. I love the way that they were finding him, but like you said, also being aggressive. He's one of those guys that can show a lot of strength and really get through guys with his physicality too.
He's been a really solid piece off the bench for the Kings.
He really has.
And another guy that was at one point out of the rotation for the Kings.
Know.